Alright, we know we have an imbalance of 3690 on our deposits. So effectively what we need to do is find and reconcile that amount. Now before jumping into that and starting to tick off all the deposits in the accounting file against all the deposits in the bank statements, and I'm going to assume that you may have a lot of them, is there a way of cutting corners here? Can we get to the deposit a little more quickly? In other words, can we check less of them? And the answer is possibly, and there is a particularly good way of trying to reduce the time you take to do this by analysing the account and comparing it with the bank statement. And it's a fairly simple exercise. If you think about it, we're out 3690. If that's the case, that's a reasonable size error. So let's go to our accounts and have a look at our check account and break it up into periods. Instead of trying to do the whole year, we're doing a little bit of analysis here. We're going to run and have a look at what happens in the month of July on the bank account. Now in the month of July, the deposits are showing as $21,674.22. When we look at our bank statement for the month of July, we notice that the deposit figure, I think, is exactly the same. Now this is simply because in our short example, the actual deposits for July all went through the bank. It may not be the same. The error may be in July, or there may have been outstanding checks, etc. But if the difference is very small, when you're looking for a 3690 difference, and the difference in July is either very small or exactly the same, well, there's no point checking the July deposits. It's unlikely that's where your problem is. So let's do this exercise again and have a look at August. So again, and depending on what program you're using, you go into August and you have a look at the transactions for the month of August. Once again, we get the deposits of 26,818.61. We then revisit our bank statements and have a look at the August deposits, and we have 26,818.61. Again, it's the same, may not be. Principle's the same as July though. Our problem is not going to be in August. Now, we only have a 3-month reconciling period for the example that we're producing here, so we sort of know that the error now must be in September. I assume you're doing a much longer period, so you may have to repeat this exercise throughout the whole year. But what you will find very quickly is this can help you narrow down the amount of searching you have to do. For our September entry, the total deposits are 18,532.62. When we look at our bank statement for the same period for September, we have a deposits of 16,032.62. There is a difference in the deposits in September. What we now need to do is look at and try and find where this error may be. Now, remember, this exercise is not about finding the difference. In other words, you'll notice something here. We have more money in our deposits in September than are in the bank, yet we know we need to find even more deposits. And the reason for this has to do with outstanding checks. Because remember, we have outstanding checks and deposits that haven't gone through the month of September. The point about this exercise is just narrowing down the amount of looking you have to do. Keep stressing this. Accounting, processing, bookkeeping, time is money. You're trying to be efficient and reduce the time it takes to do things. You will now then do pretty much a standard ticking off of the entries. You click off all the various entries against your bank statement. We have our bank statement here, and effectively we'll just be ticking these off. Now, in our case, the error is this entry here, and this is actually quite a common error, a so-called transposition error where $410 is showing in our accounting file, but if you look in the bank statements, we have a figure of 4,100. So we need to change that because we have found our error. So we'll just go into our bank account and find that entry. Now this is how it's done in my software. Most accountancy programs will allow you to do the same thing. We select the specific entry that we have here, we then go in and change that to the correct figure, and we then process that, and we now have the correct number. Now our bank reconciliation as a result has changed. We have now found the incorrect deposit from our earlier chapters. We know that the difference in the bank now is on the debit side, on the expense side, and is in fact very small. We'll just revisit our bank reconciliation to see how much progress we're making. So we go to our reconciliation report for September the 30th, 2011, and we'll have a look at what we're seeing now. Now we have an expected bank statement balance of 19,166.49. We compare that with our actual bank statement balance of 19,085.43, and we are making good progress. Now this is a significant point, and stressing what we discussed earlier. We now know that the difference in the bank is small, and it's all on the expense side.